Hello everybody, so today I will talk about algebra. The topic today is about polynomial. So now I will show you how to answer. Question number 1. Given that b of x equals to 3x plus 7, we need to find about b of negative number 1. To calculate about this one, we just change about x equals to negative number 1. So we put negative number 1 go in here. That means x will change negative number 1 in here. So we will have about b of negative number 1. And we put about negative number 1 go in here. So number 3 multiplied by negative number 1, you got about negative number 3. Negative number 3 plus 7, you got about positive number 4. And this is the answer for question number 1. Now let's go to number 2. We do the same. We put s equal to number 0 go in here. Later that we put number 0 go in here. So this one you got about 0. So we have 1 square, you got about 1. And this one you got about 11. Question number 3. Given that bx equals to 5x squared plus 7x minus 12, we need to find about this one. Before we calculate about this one, we need to find about b of negative number 1 and b of number 1. So I will put negative number 1 go in here and here. So we calculate about this one, and you got about negative number 14. Now I will put number 1 go in here and here. We calculate about this one, and we got about 0. So this one is about negative number 14 to the power of 0 in here. We calculate about this one, and you got about 1. And this is the answer for question number 3. Now let's go to the next one. Before we calculate about e, we need to find about b of negative number 2, 1, 4, and 3. About negative number 2, so we put negative number 2 go in here and here. And you got about 11. Now we put b of number 1. So we put number 1 go in here. And you got about negative number 1. b of number 4. So we put number 4 go in here and here. And you got about number 5. b of number 3. We put number 3 go in here. And you got about 1. So b of negative number 2, you got about 11. b of number 1, you got about negative number 1. Number 5, we go in here, minus 1. So we have 11 minus 1. We calculate about this one, and you got about 10 over 4. We simplify by number 2, you got about 5 over 2. Now the next one, they want to find b number 3 and b number 1. to find about number 3 and number 1. So that means we put number 3 gone here. And we have s plus 2 equal to number 3. So we need to find the value of s to make sure that we can transform s plus 2 equal to number 3. So we put number 2 go to the right, and we can find the value of s. That's about 3 minus 2 equals to number 1. So if we put number 1 gone here, you got about 1 plus 2, you got about 3 in here. And then we put number 1 gone here too, to find about b number 3. So this is about 1. 5 multiplied by 1 plus 7. You got about 12. Now we do similar for b number 1. So we have s plus 2 equals to number 1. So we can find the value of s. We put number 2 go to the right. And we have 1 minus 2. You got about negative number 1. So if we put negative number 1 gone here, you got about b number 1. And then we put negative number 1 gone here. We have negative number 5 plus 7. And you got about 2. So we have b3 plus b1. And that is about 12 plus 2. And we have 14. And this is the answer for question. The last one, we want to find b2, b1, b0. So about b0 in here, we put number 0 gone here, here, and here. Because there are 0 in here, so we have only negative number 3. B number 1. So we put number 1 gone here, here, here. So we have about 1 minus 16 plus 4 minus 3. We calculate about this one. And we got about negative 14. And the last one, b number 2. So we put number 2 gone here, here, here. So if we look carefully about this one, we can do about factorization by 2 to the power of 96. And this one you got about 2 to the power of 4. Because 4 with 96 you got about 100. 4 with number 2 you got about 8. If we look carefully, 2 to the power of 4 you got about 16 in here. So that means 16 minus 16 you got about 0 in here. So we just have only this one. A minus 3 you got about 5. So we sum all the number in here. And that should be about negative number 3, negative 14 plus 5. And you got about negative number 12. And that is the final answer. This is the end. Thank you for watching.